Hello. All evidence of Nikola Tesla's last 10 years of his life were due to his writings and incredibly prodigious lectures and interviews that he gave, of which there are countless, was that his mind was as sharp as a razor. In his last 10 years of life, of course, he was kind of self-isolated in the hotel there, and he did make friends with a pet pigeon, but nevertheless, I mean, he was obviously an oddball in that respect, but I mean, anybody with that kind of mind who's a genius is an oddball respective to the rest of humanity. Incredibly, the point being is that he was an incredibly sharp person to be interviewed, and his articles are extremely coherent and very intelligent, and they're also, too, quite often so complex that they're obtuse, that to the point where the common person actually really has to concentrate their brain, even if they understand field theory, to know what Nikola Tesla is talking about. But here's the fact, too, this is not a conspiracy. John G. Trump, who is the uncle of the current president, Donald Trump, was the person that was actually sent by the government, and John G. Trump was part of the Office of Alien Affairs. It's not literally about aliens. It's about collecting dogs. So anyway, John G. Trump, after Nikola Tesla died, stole Tesla's work. Someone asked me, so well, how could you steal it if Tesla's dead? Because it was part of an estate that Tesla actually had given to others, and also to relatives to distribute out. There are countless trunks and journals, and there's a record, and it was FBI declassified, and it's 65 pages long. If you ask me for it, I'll send you the link. Showing the exact names of the people that were present. Specifically, it was under the heading, under the auspices of John G. Trump, who went there to seize all of Nikola Tesla's papers, and they even brought in a safe cracker because Nikola Tesla had a safe there, and they cracked open a safe and took apparently his most important journals. So anyway, no matter what you think of Tesla, his last 10 years of his life were very genius author, lots of lectures showing his mind was just as sharp as a razor. And one of the things that any government will do, if they're smart, is that to dismiss somebody, you'll paint them as a kook or a fool, and that's exactly what John G. Trump did. And I've actually got notes, and I've not seen any YouTube video or any website talk about this, and I'll give you the exact words of John G. Trump, who was the uncle. You can actually find like a 2-hour-long interview of John G. Trump, who died, and I believe in 2007 or 2000, somewhere right around there. An interview with John G. Trump. And I'll actually talk about that 65-page declassified FBI document in another video. But anyway, this is John G. Trump trying to dismiss Tesla as a crackpot and a loon. Despite the fact that he had, more inventions and patents than God, and, his mind was just perpetually pouring out information. This is what Trump said, Tesla's thoughts and efforts during the past 15 years were primarily of a speculative, philosophical, and somewhat self-promotional character, but did not include, this is total BS, did not include new, sound, and workable principles or methods for realizing such results. Completely ludicrous. There's not a person out there. That's step one of Trump as a disinformation agent after Tesla's death, to say, he had some great inventions, and I'm going to go on to some more quotes from him. He had some great inventions early in his life, but his last 15 years or 10 years were just as a crackpot. And there's so many letters that still survive from Tesla from his last 10 years and interviews. It's just completely ridiculous to say that. Here's another falsity. This was completely concocted by John G. Trump. When Tesla died in 1943, this is about Tesla, who needed money. He gave the death ray as a collateral to the hotel. He's saying this is worth a fortune. Actually, let me get on to that. That one's over here. He said he didn't need to bother. This is what John G. Trump said. He said, in other words, Tesla threw together some electrical components in a fancy-looking box and convinced everybody it was a death beam worth $10,000. Tesla's good friend Mark Twain would have been proud of this. This is more of Trump putting Tesla down as, a crazy freaking crackpot. This is what Trump said about it. He said, when he went to retrieve the death ray, which it was a death ray actually, he says he shouldn't have bothered. The only thing the wooden chest contained was a multi-decade resistance box of the type used by Whetstone Bridge resistance multi-measurement. Contains standard items found. In other words, this is Trump saying that Tesla shafted the hotel, claiming he gave them a death ray as collateral for his hotel bill, which was totally untrue because last 10 years of Tesla's life, people paid him money. And they were using him as this icon. They would invite him to these fancy parties where rich people were. Even though he didn't really have any monies in the last years of his life, people were paying for his food and hotel, and so also too, so was Westinghouse, I believe. Wasn't it Westinghouse? I think it was Westinghouse. He paid, till the rest of his days. So this is completely untrue. This is a insane fabrication that was concocted by John G. Trump, and that's not the only one. This is also a telling through John G. Trump about the hotel manager. It said the hotel managers reported, this is a fabrication by Trump. He's saying what the hotel managers reported, that Tesla was very eccentric, if not mentally deranged, during the last 10 years of his life, and it is doubtful he had created anything of value during that time, although prior to that he was probably, give me a break, really, a very brilliant inventor. So this is fabrication number 4 from Trump, working on behalf of the government to completely, so they, after he died, they stole all his papers. And then they waged a disinformation campaign. Well, they didn't really have nothing anyway. He was just like last 10 years of his life. He was just like a nutty-ass crackpot. He used to be a good inventor like a long time ago, but he's just a crackpot. These are the exact words of John G. Trump about Tesla after he died. By the way, Nikola Tesla knew John G. Trump, and Tesla made fun of Trump earlier in his life because Trump advocated for an electrostatic generator device, and Tesla laughed at Trump because he said that that was ridiculous. It's a total waste of energy. It was like a buffoonish idea to even think of using that. So apparently John G. Trump was, and I watched the 2-hour-long interview that's actually on YouTube of John G. Trump. Not really, even though he's a scientist, and a smart guy relative to the common, rack and rabble of humanity, he was not like, a prodigious, he's not a person of brilliance or acclaim at all, none whatsoever. This is not about politics. I'm not talking about Trump because he's the uncle of the current president, but he was, the claws and talons of the U.S. government. And there's this is not conspiracy. This is hardcore fact. That this is not only what he said, but also to the office that Trump worked for the government. They brought in a safecracker. And they also, Tesla had a storage unit that had a bunch of trunks. They got everything. And that was stolen. Tesla's estate was not meant to be stolen by the government and secreted away. It's been 80 years later, and all that stuff is still in the hands of the government. So not only did they steal it, they had to dismiss him as a wackadoodle, crusty old crackpot. And that's what any government will do. They want to shut somebody up, especially after they're dead, they just say, well, he's just a crazy old, nobody, he was a brilliant inventor, but I've not seen another YouTube video or any article about this aspect of Tesla's post-mortem, where they hung him up to dry and they threw poo on his name, essentially, which is exactly what they did. That's what the United States government did. Let me move the monitor back here a little bit. There we go. So anyway, I got a couple of videos I want to make about Tesla tonight, and also to upload that document, 64 pages. In it, it actually greatly details John G. Trump's, in his own words, the stuff that he collected out of Tesla's hotel room there, what he sees, some mentions, And that document is heavily redacted too. In other words, there's a bunch of stuff in there that's still classified to this day, which you could only imagine what that contains, but it contains some juicy stuff, to be sure, some really juicy stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you like these videos. If you do, let me know if you have any questions. Click the link below if you like the videos, or you can tell me how much you hate them. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, bye.